Well, Justin Timberlake, Bill Gates, Greta Gerwig, they're among the growing list of famous faces who've gone public with their ADHD diagnosis, bringing much-needed awareness to the disorder. But some argue that it's causing a tidal wave of self-diagnosis.
Well, considering there's no single test for the condition, often the symptoms can be masked or misdiagnosed. So today we're revealing what to look out for and where to turn for help.
And for more on this, we welcome back Dr. Kieran Kennedy. Nice to see you again.
You too, guys.
As a psychiatrist, your day-to-day job is diagnosing new patients with this. What are some telltale signs that people may be dismissing?
Yeah, it's really interesting because there's so much out about this at the moment, right, just as we were saying. But I think signs we often miss is the sort of the attentional side to ADHD. We often think of ADHD as talking a lot, never being able to stop, always being on the go. But there's a lot around memory, there's a lot around focus, procrastination, even how we organise sort of our physical space around us that can pertain towards a diagnosis as well.
Okay, you also have to tell people when they don't have ADHD, despite thinking they do, because quite frankly, that list that you just described then, I think most people could go, oh my God, that's me, right?
Absolutely, myself included.
Yeah, so can you give us some insight into the different reactions and that some people might have in this scenario?
Definitely. It's really tricky with a lot of our mental health conditions, but especially this side of things, because we're all on a bit of the spectrum here. All of us struggle with procrastination at times, or memory lapses, or struggling to focus on an assignment or work. But for ADHD, it's when those things collect in a range of symptoms that are together and at a level that's high enough to significantly impair us. So I think a lot of people are searching for an understanding of themselves and maybe something that's kind of going to bring around the support and treatment to help them. But we also have to be aware that other conditions like anxiety, depression, even trauma can also impact these same things. And so sometimes it's quite disappointing and difficult for people to hear that it might not be that diagnosis, but something else.
All right, can we talk about the impact of social media for a sec? Plenty of big names coming out and talking about ADHD and a diagnosis. Helpful or harmful, do you think?
Well, it's a bit of both here. It's a bit of a double-edged sword. I mean, helpful in the way of I'm always up for reducing stigma and getting more information out there around mental health especially. But I think the concern here for a lot of doctors and psychiatrists is that a lot of the information out there isn't necessarily evidence-based, and it might be guiding people down pathways that aren't actually backed up by a lot of solid medical information or advice.
That's with everything on social media, isn't it?
Right,
absolutely, grain of salt.
Okay, so we're talking about ADHD, screen time. Does that play into it, into our ability to focus?
Yeah, it really does by the looks of it. And for kids and teens especially, but also for us adults, the brain is sort of habitually learning all the time off what we're introducing to it. And so we know now that there's evidence coming out around screen time and social media especially, reducing our attention span and getting our brain into the habit of moving on to something else or another stimulus or another focus very quickly. And so there is evidence that the more we use social media and our phones, that can actually impair and impact our ability to focus, become distracted or undistracted, procrastinate, all of these types of things that can affect us whether we have ADHD or not.
Obviously, medication plays a major role with ADHD treatment, but what other things can help improve focus and concentration for people with or without?
Yeah, the great thing here is that there are some very actionable everyday things that can help all of us, regardless of whether we have ADHD or not. So looking after our sleep, eating regular meals, these type of things that support our body also support the mind to be able to focus, remember, not procrastinate, action the things we need to do. And so focusing on those things is important. I think reducing stress levels and also getting support and treatment for other conditions that might be around or representing ADHD, like anxiety or depression, that can really, really help as well.
Okay, really good advice. Thank you so much, Kieran.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Doc.